Confessions, Episode 1. I sit in my car for an hour after work and tell everyone it's traffic. It's the happiest part of my day. I park a couple blocks from home, kill the engine, and just exist. No radio, sometimes a podcast, sometimes I stare at a leaf on the windshield. I text traffic to the family group chat and sit there like a raccoon pretending to be a functioning adult. It started during a rough week. I told myself I needed 5 minutes to decompress so I wouldn't bring the office home. 5 minutes became 15, then an hour. Now that quiet metal box is the only place where nobody needs anything from me. Here's the part I'm not proud of. I've missed dinners. I've let calls ring out. I've walked in with a tired smile and a lie about a stalled truck on the highway. There's always a stalled truck somewhere, even when I'm nowhere near a highway. I'm not cheating. I'm not job hunting. I'm just exhausted and addicted to being unreachable. I think I'm scared that if I say, I need an hour to myself, people will hear, I don't love you. So I picked the coward's version, silence and excuses. It feels harmless, but it isn't. It chips away at trust, and I can hear it in the little pause before they say, okay. I'm confessing because I don't want the happiest part of my day to be hiding. I'm going to tell them the truth and ask for a real boundary. 1 hour after work, phone on do not disturb, then I show up fully. If they say no, at least I finally said something real. If anyone else does the car park thing, you're not a monster. But the quiet hits different when it isn't stolen.
Not getting married was the best decision I ever made. Me, 29 male, and my partner, 28 female, met 8 years ago, just before I graduated, and we clicked almost immediately. A few months after I graduated, she and her 3-year-old son moved in with me. Right after graduating, I started making low 6 figures working for a large bank and then went on to do my own thing, having a very lucrative career. My income was more than enough to support the 3 of us, so I was comfortable letting her stay home, work on her hobbies and volunteering. I thought our relationship was going well. She's been pressing me to get married for the last 4 years, but the time never seemed right because I wanted to get my own business off of the ground first, and she seemed comfortable with that. Last week, she asked me what I thought about open relationships and whether we could open ours. I know why she asked. I spend a lot of time traveling for work, and she probably wants some action on the side while I'm away working. Hell, she might already have something on the side. I knew right then we were done, but I needed to find out how screwed I was before pulling the trigger. I set up a meet with a lawyer my friend knew, and I have to admit I was scared. I'd heard stories of how men were raked over the coals in divorces all the time, so I walked into the lawyer's office expecting to lose 50% of everything and more. At first things looked bleak, but then he asked how long we had been married. When I told him that we weren't married, he called me the luckiest MF to ever walk into his office. Common law marriage doesn't exist here, which means that when we split up, she gets precisely nothing, zero, zip, nada. I'm trying to figure out the best time to tell her we're done, but that's all I have to say. Not getting married was the smartest decision I've ever made.
I caught my mom, who I thought was an angel, having an affair on my dad. Now I can't stand her and see her for the sociopath she is. I grew up loving my mother dearly, as most sons do. She was protective, kind, beautiful, successful, and smart, and was someone I strove to be like when I was young. However, I wasn't seeing the side of her that is at her core, and within the past 3 years, I have come to despise her. She is selfish, manipulative, two-faced, and an overall bad human, which is a tough pill to swallow when I adored her for 25 years. It's weird how you don't really know your parents until you become an adult. This will be long, and if just one person gets through it, then it was worth writing. I just need to get this off my chest. My parents are in their late 50s. My dad is very successful, owner of his own business, and is an all-around good guy, great father to my sisters and I, and is a way better husband than my mom deserves. They've been together since they were in high school, when in their sophomore year, my mom literally pulled a girl out of his Jeep and got in because she wanted to be with him. Red flag. He is more passive, and my mom is aggressive, obviously. Any honey-do list he got, he did it. Anything my mother wanted, she got. His brother, and even I, always gave him shit for being so whipped. They went into over $90,000 in debt when I was 13 because my mom wanted a big house, Mercedes, and other crap they couldn't afford at the time. We went on expensive vacations that she planned. We ate in nice restaurants we couldn't afford, and the only thing my dad ever stood his ground on was that he gets to deer hunt with the guys 3 weekends a year, which my mom still bitched about being left out of. She has always had to be the center of whatever he does in life, no exceptions. But that isn't what made me see her for who she was. For years ago, my now wife and I were soon to be married. My mom suggested we all take a motorcycle trip one weekend. My dad and I ride together often. With her old coworker, we'll call him James. She explained he was going through a tough time with his ex-wife and needed to get away. We go and have a good time for a weekend, but it just felt weird. It was my mom, dad, my now wife, and James. The dynamic and overall vibe of being around my mom's old friend was strange. He was a nice enough guy. He was tall, handsome, rich, and brawny. He had an ex-wife and 2 kids around my age, and he loved taking pictures of my mom and dad, which creeped me out. Anyways, nothing of importance happened on this trip, but my mom starts acting strange afterwards, and my dad and older sister are the ones who noticed it. At this time, I lived with my fiancé on the other side of the city, but my older sister was living with my parents because she was in grad school and was recently divorced after 1 year of marriage, found out he was an addict, and spent all their money. One night, a few weeks after our motorcycle trip, my fiancé, sister, mom, and I went to an Incubus concert. My mom was acting weird, wanting to smoke pot, downing beers. This isn't like her at all, and just being weird in general. It was like she was a whole different person all of a sudden. After being there for 10 minutes, she said, "I'm going to grab a beer," and gets up and disappears for an hour. I went looking for her after she had been gone for 45 minutes as I was concerned for her safety, and when I came back with no luck, I asked my sister if she's been able to get a hold of her. She rolls her eyes and goes, "I didn't bother calling. She's probably calling James. WTF?" She then drops a bomb and tells me she and dad suspect she is having an affair with him. She goes on to explain how sketchy she has been acting, doing things like changing her phone and iPad password, stepping out for phone calls and whispering, even putting a fucking jar of rocks on her phone while she slept so she would be woken up if anyone touched it, I'm assuming. Ick. Fucking weird. My dad managed to look in her phone before she changed her password and quickly skimmed through her texts with James and saw some suspicious cryptic dialogue. My mom finally gets back to us at the concert, and at this point I am pissed and devastated all at once. I ask her what took so long. She didn't even have the beer she left to get, and she says, "Oh, I ran into some old friends from my old job at _____." Immediately sensing bullshit. What are the chances her 50-plus-year-old friends also went to see Incubus? So I ask who. She didn't expect this follow-up question but slyly responds with, "You don't know them." I then ask, "Well, what are their names?" She's feeling the pressure and stutters before managing to make up some bullshit names. My wife and sister are listening to my interrogation very intently while Brandon Boyd is killing it in the background singing "Pardon Me." I get sick of her BS and drop it. I am livid and crushed and thinking of my dad. My sister had already gotten to the point of disgust I was at, so she didn't say anything, and we all kind of ignored it until the next day. After this concert incident, my sister tells my dad what happened, and he finally approaches my mom about everything. He demanded to see her call history and sees a 45-minute call to James at the time of the concert, along with many others. He demands to know WTF is going on, and she says he is just going through a hard time with his ex, who is apparently debilitated from alcoholism, and she was just helping him get through it as a friend. Anyways, to keep any readers interested, I'm going to skip past the shit that could make this the longest read ever. Basically, the sketchiness goes on for months, and at the time of my wedding, my dad has a tracker in her goddamn car, has requested call logs from the phone company, and is looking at hiring a private investigator. I still remember dancing with her at my wedding. She looked at me adoringly, and I couldn't look back at her. Little did my dad, or I know, me and my love for my kayaking would soon give him everything he needed. A month or so after my wedding, I go to stay with my old college roommate for a weekend of kayaking and fishing. He lived by my grandparents' lake house, my mom's parents, and I was going to pick up my kayak from their house that day. My dad randomly calls me just to say hi and probably tell me about whatever sketchy BS my mom had been up to, though probably not healthy. He is my best friend, and this had been our convos lately. I tell him that I'm headed to the lake house, and he responds, "I doubt she would be this bold, but your mom said she was at the lake house with her girlfriends this weekend, and I want you to be prepared if that isn't the case. If it isn't, let me know." I knew what he meant. I didn't give my mom a heads up that I was coming on purpose, and as I drive up, I'm relieved to see just her car and another girly-looking car in the driveway. I call my dad before going in and tell him my initial assessment is that nothing sketchy is going on from what I see. Just looks like her and her friends are here. He's as relieved I am. I walk up, knock on the door, and it's silent. The back patio door is unlocked, so I walk in. The first thing I see is a leather motorcycle jacket hanging on one of the bar stools and immediately recognize it as James. My heart starts pounding and my adrenaline is pumping as my vision gets all weird and my ears start burning. A million questions went through my head in a second, like, are they here? Do they know I'm here? Should I announce myself? God damn it, Mom, you fucking cheating asshole. I act fast, assuming they aren't there, but could be pulling up any minute. I take a picture of the jacket. I go to the garage and sure enough, James' motorcycle is there. I take a picture of that and then run back in and see cell phones stacked where they are charging in the kitchen. I grab a phone I don't recognize. It didn't have a lock on it, so immediately go to the pictures. First one is of two people I don't recognize, as well as my mom and James, and they're kissing each other on the lips. I scroll a little and more of the same shit. My heart is pumping out of my chest at this point, and I take a few quick pictures of the photos and the phone and run out of the house, not even remembering or caring what I had originally been there for. Something I should add here, when I was 7, my mom left my dad for a doctor who just wanted to use her and drop her like a bad habit, and my dad reluctantly took her back after she begged and pleaded. She blamed the doctor at the time, saying he drugged/raped her or some bullshit. My dad later told me that at the time, he told himself he was doing it for the kids and had planned on leaving her after we graduated HS, but they did so well in between then and our graduations that he eventually forgave her and was happy in their relationship. I remember them being separated, but I didn't know the details until I recently. Okay, so anyways, I peel out of the driveway at the lake house and drive to a secluded street in the neighborhood as I try and figure out WTF to do. I let my heart rate slow a bit so I could think more clearly, and then called my little sister, trying to decide if I tell my dad, and if so, how. Up to this point, everyone just had their suspicions with no solid proof. My little sister, who is the sweetheart of the family, agrees that I needed to call Dad and tell him immediately because he deserves to know, despite how bad it will hurt him. I then called my wife and she agreed, but we were both worried what he would do. I hesitate for a bit, but eventually I call my dad to tell him his wife of 25 years is cheating on him. When he answers, I just blurted out, "James is here. I have proof, and Mom is cheating on you." I didn't know how to put it delicately, so I just gave him the facts. He was in shock like me. He kept saying the same phrase over and over, "No fucking way. God damn it. Insert my mom's name. God damn it. Wow, son of a bitch. God damn it." After the initial shock wears off, he apologizes that I had to be the one to see it, and then says he's on his way. It's a 3-hour drive, and that he will meet up with me at my roommate's. I immediately call my uncle, my dad's identical twin, and my other best friend, and tell him what's going on. I tell him I'm afraid my dad is going to do something stupid. He said he'll make sure he doesn't. They end up coming down together and meet me at my roommate's house. We talk for a couple hours and come up with a plan. They switch trucks with my roommate to go incognito because he must see it for himself. My dad promises he won't do anything stupid despite what he may see. He sneaks up there after dark.
I regret marrying someone from a different culture and ethnicity. I'll never admit this out loud to anyone in my real life, but I do regret marrying someone from a different culture and ethnicity. I feel ashamed even writing that, but it's the truth. The hardest part is his own self-hatred. Over time, LV realized he didn't really choose me because of who I am, but because I'm white. He has said many times that he'd never marry someone of his own ethnicity. I was only 21 when we met, and I didn't fully understand what that meant. Having kids changed everything. There's no romance anymore. Sex maybe once every 2 months, and I can feel that he's forcing himself. His energy and attention all go to our kids. No gifts, no surprises. He even forgot my birthday this year. Maybe that isn't cultural, but I do feel like in his country being the devoted father is almost glorified, like that's the whole identity of a man after having kids. And then there are his parents. If I started writing about how condescending, toxic, and controlling they became after the baby, it would take hours. They're obsessed with our children. Some of it is cultural, some of it is just them being awful people. They pressure him constantly. I overheard his mom saying at least 20 times how his eyes are too small. Thank God now her grandkids have beautiful eyes just like her. It made me sick. I don't regret him as the father of my kids. He is wonderful with them, even if he's anxious about the smallest things. He does his best, and I still love him. But the cultural differences, his obsession with race, and his self-hatred weigh so heavily on me. I love our children more than anything, but sometimes I feel sad for them because of the way he talks. One time, I don't even know how the topic came up, I said something like, people might see our kids as Asian, and he replied, yes, and you know that for most people here looking Asian is a bad thing. It's not something to be proud of. That crushed me. It stuck in my head for days, and I couldn't stop thinking about it when I looked at my kids. I've never seen them like that, never thought of them that way. The thought alone tortured me. On the outside, we look like a beautiful family, bilingual, 2 cultures, good jobs, a stable life. But inside, I'm not happy anymore. His issues are dragging me down. I've lost confidence. I've stopped trying to comfort him. It's a lost cause. It's never good enough. It's never perfect enough. He will never be satisfied. Only our kids bring me joy and keep me going, and I'll do my best to make them happy.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the new ones.